In a turn of events that few would have predicted a decade ago, the global automotive industry is undergoing a radical transformation, with Chinese automaker BYD openly challenging the traditional automotive powers of the United States and Europe. Don't blame China, declares the company that surpassed Tesla as the world's largest electric vehicle manufacturer in the last quarter of 2023, selling more battery-powered cars than its American rival. This moment represents not just a significant shift in the balance of power in the global automotive industry, but also a clash of narratives about innovation, trade policy, and the future of mobility. BYD's rise didn't happen overnight. Founded in 1995 as a battery manufacturer, the Warren Buffett-backed company transformed itself into China's leading automotive brand through strategic investments and persistent technological development. In 2023, BYD exported more than 240,000 cars to 70 countries, a global expansion that continues to accelerate. January 2025 marked a record for the company, with 66,000 vehicles sold outside of China, becoming the best-selling car brand in Singapore, surpassing Toyota, and overtaking Tesla in UK sales for the first time. It's particularly ironic to observe that a few years ago, Elon Musk publicly laughed at BYD's vehicles. Videos now circulating online show his disdain for the quality of Chinese cars. However, in a Tesla fourth-quarter earnings call, Musk warned that Chinese manufacturers could demolish most other car companies in the world unless regulators intervened. This dramatic change in attitude reflects the reluctant recognition of the competitive threat that BYD represents. BYD's competitive advantage is neither accidental nor simply the result of government subsidies, as some Western critics claim. The company has developed proprietary battery technology and in-house parts manufacturing, secured access to essential raw materials, invested early in electric vehicle technology, and achieved economies of scale that continue to reduce costs. Its vertical integration throughout the supply chain, including the development of its own fleet of ships for vehicle exports, provides significant cost advantages. A BYD representative explained this strategy. "It's because we invested in this technology much earlier and much more than competitors," adding that the company's costs are getting lower as production volumes increase. This combination of technological innovation and operational efficiency has allowed BYD to offer electric vehicles at prices that Western manufacturers struggle to match. In response to the growing market share of Chinese electric vehicles globally, Western governments have implemented protectionist measures. In July 2024, the European Union imposed provisional tariffs on Chinese EVs ranging from 17.4% to 37.6%, on top of an existing 10% duty for all electric cars imported from China. Specifically for BYD, an additional duty of 17.4% was imposed on vehicles shipped from China to the EU. The EU's justification for these measures was based on the claim that the rapid rise in Chinese EV imports was boosted by unfair subsidization, allowing China-made EVs to be sold at much lower prices than those produced in Europe. The European Commission concluded that Chinese-made EVs benefit from unfair subsidies following its investigation. The United States has taken even more aggressive action. In May 2024, President Biden announced an increase in tariffs on Chinese EVs from 27.5% to 100%. This dramatic tariff increase comes despite Chinese EV imports being very marginal in the American market, demonstrating a preventive stance against potential Chinese entry into the U.S. automotive market. BYD and its supporters have pushed back against claims that China's success in the EV sector is primarily due to unfair subsidies or practices. This perspective is encapsulated in the statement, "Don't blame China. China is not doing anything wrong now, but just selling quality electric vehicles at affordable prices." The company has explicitly rejected EU claims that Chinese government subsidies help reduce the price of its vehicles, arguing that its cost advantages stem from early investments, technological innovation, and economies of scale rather than government support. Some industry observers have pointed out what they see as hypocrisy in Western complaints, noting that European cars sell for much lower prices in China than in Europe. As one commentator put it, BYD looks suspiciously cheap. We blame it on subsidies in China. Now we look at local manufacturers. Oh look, VH, Volkswagen AG, also sells their cars for half the price in China. How come? A growing argument from BYD supporters is that Chinese EVs aren't just cheaper, they're better, according to a foreign policy analysis. The challenge Chinese EV car companies present to Western legacy manufacturers is not because they are low value or sold below market prices. The challenge is that Chinese EVs are better. This view suggests that Chinese manufacturers have benefited from intense domestic competition. It has incubated so many startup EV companies that the survivors who succeed in the Chinese market provide incredibly strong products shaped by a Darwinian level of market competition. The rise of Chinese EVs has created significant concerns about the future of automotive industries in Europe and North America. Europe has reportedly shed more than 10,000 automotive jobs in the face of Chinese EV sales to the European Union. With the automotive sector representing approximately 3% of U.S. GDP and 22% of all trade in North America, there are fears that similar job losses could occur in the United States. European car companies are particularly feeling the squeeze, with iconic German brands like Volkswagen facing declining sales and plant closures. In September 2024, Volkswagen CEO Oliver Blume warned of a very demanding and serious situation for the European automotive industry, announcing that VW may close plants in Germany for the first time in the company's nearly 9-decade history. Beyond finished vehicles, China has established dominant positions throughout the EV supply chain. The country produces 90% of the active material for EV battery cathodes, 97% of the active material needed for anodes, and assembles 66% of the world's EV battery cells. This concentration provides China with significant leverage over the entire automotive supply chain. In response to growing trade barriers, BYD and other Chinese manufacturers are adapting their global strategies. BYD is building an EV factory, Hungary, with planned production of at least 150,000 cars annually. The company has indicated that higher EU tariffs may actually lead them to increase the planned capacity of this facility, effectively circumventing import tariffs by manufacturing within the EU. Chinese manufacturers continue to push technological boundaries. BYD recently announced that its God's Eye self-driving technology would be offered in nearly all its vehicles, including the $90,500 Seagull model, while Tesla is still waiting for regulatory approval for its FSD system in China. With high tariffs in the United States and growing barriers in Europe, Chinese EV makers are focusing on other markets. The expansion into Southeast Asia, Latin America, and Africa represents areas where Chinese manufacturers face fewer trade restrictions. The tension between Western protectionist measures and China's growing dominance in electric vehicles represents a pivotal moment in the global automotive industry. As one analyst noted, these measures risk trapping Western economies in an economic dead end if they don't include an exit strategy that spurs domestic innovation. BYD's assertion that China shouldn't be blamed for the electric car crisis highlights a fundamental difference in perspective. Western governments view China's EV success as the result of unfair subsidies and non-market practices, while Chinese manufacturers argue they've simply outcompeted traditional automakers through better technology, innovative business models, and economies of scale. As tariffs and trade barriers reshape global EV markets, the ultimate winners may be determined not by protectionist policies, but by which manufacturers can most effectively deliver the affordable, high-quality electric vehicles that consumers increasingly demand. For Western automakers, the challenge isn't just competing with Chinese rivals today, but developing the capabilities to remain competitive in a rapidly transforming industry. This dispute goes beyond simple trade policies. It's a battle for leadership in the next era of global mobility. Established automotive companies in the US and Europe face a fundamental dilemma: adapt quickly to new market realities or risk becoming irrelevant. Meanwhile, BYD and other Chinese manufacturers continue their relentless march toward global domination of the electric vehicle market, challenging not only competition, but also Western narratives about fair competition and industrial innovation. We are witnessing not just a trade dispute, but a fundamental redefinition of industrial geopolitics for the 21st century.